Hey guys, today I'm going to talk about food. Um, this is kind of a topic I've shied away from so far because I feel like I have like a lot to say on it. I don't think I'm going to like talk about everything that I want to talk about in this video because then it would be like, I don't know, hours long. But today I'm going to talk about picky eating. So, growing up, I was for sure a picky eater. Like, guys, I was eating like five things max. And honestly, I don't even know. Well, I was gonna say I don't know how I like made it through healthily because I didn't make it through healthily. I still struggle with a lot of health problems, um, albeit a lot. Like they're a lot less now that I've started taking care of my body and my health. Um, but yeah, super picky eater growing up. And I know that maybe a lot of parents are struggling with their kids being picky eaters too. And guys, I'm not some like parenting expert or like guru, follow my core. No, like I'm a regular person, and I just want to share my experience. So, and my ideas, thoughts, ideas, etc. So I saw this meme. I don't know what to call these posts anymore that have pictures with informational picture, where it had a picture of a blueberry or like many blueberries, and it basically blueberries and crackers. So this sounds like it makes no sense, but stick with me, guys. When we buy something that's packaged, like that's not a blueberry, not a fruit or vegetable, like something that isn't fresh, has preservatives in it, you buy it from like it has a plastic bag around it in a box, made by a big corporation, not made by, granny down the street or, something at the farmer's market. I'm talking about like stuff made by like the Mars Corporation or Nabisco, which maybe is the Mars Corporation. I don't know. But I'm talking about like prepackaged things. When you buy this stuff, part of the expectation is that it's always going to be the same. It's kind of like when you go to McDonald's around the world, a Big Mac is supposed to always be the same. It's the same thing. Like that's part of their business model is so that you can expect alleged quality from them. So they have departments that are, quality assurance that are specifically made to make sure that the product you buy is always the same. And you can complain if it's not always the same. So, when we eat these foods that are always the same over and over and over, and we come to expect the same, that actually sets us up for difficulty eating foods that are not always the same. Here comes the blueberry now. This is what they were talking about. When you buy blueberries, or even when you like pick them, they're quite firm, right? Like they're not fully ripe yet. So they're quite firm when you chew them, maybe they like are a little bit more like it's tough for lack of better terms. Not tough, but you catch what I'm saying. Firm, not as juicy, etc. And the more that they ripen, the juicier, the sweeter, the softer they become. This doesn't happen with stuff made by corporations. Because that would mean that their product is not stable. It's not something that they can assure the quality on. So it wouldn't meet the standards. So they can't do stuff like this. Whereas real food, fruits, vegetables, etc., they ripen and eventually go rotten. That's how it works. The life cycle of the fruit or vegetable. So this actually really sets people up for trouble, like eating processed foods, that is, versus eating real food. I don't know a lot about autism, so I'm not going to, say that I'm some autism expert But I do know that there are some people, autistic or not, that struggle with food textures and things not being the same. And guys, like, we gotta help people to eat real food. And again, I don't have the answers. If you have something to say about this, I'd love to hear it. Like, maybe you can help me understand more from like the autistic point of view, or experience about eating like textures, because I don't know. And that's one thing about me, is that I want people to tell me if I'm wrong, or if I want people to, share their experiences with me. I don't want people to like talk down to me and be rude. Obviously, nobody wants that. But I'd really like, if somebody has some information about that, to share it with me. But anyways, I really feel like, autistic or not, we're setting kids up to be picky eaters by giving them these processed same foods. Obviously, not everybody can, afford to buy fancy organic produce. I get that, and I'm definitely not judging people that are buying processed food, because, my mom was a single mom, and I ate a lot of processed foods growing up, just because honestly, like, she either didn't have the time or didn't have the money to, get the fresh local produce, organic produce that, is most beneficial for everyone. So that being said, there are some ways that we could incorporate like getting more fresh produce into our life, so that we can introduce these different textures to our kids and even to ourselves. Like, there are adults out there that I'm like, guys, like, how do I say this politely? I can't. Just grow up. Like, I'm not talking about somebody who has like a disability, or, I feel like now I just sound like a jerk, but food doesn't have to be delicious all the time. Like, it can taste good. It can be, this is good. But it doesn't have to be this like, oh my God, like the chocolate cake of, like, you can't always eat chocolate cake, right? So, because it's tasty, but it does nothing for your body. In fact, it, negatively affects you. So that being said, food is there to nourish your body and to help it function appropriately and correctly. So sometimes we have to eat foods that maybe aren't as good as chocolate cake, but we have to eat them, because if we want to function to our highest ability and take the pressure off our brain, that's like, if you're worried about your body not functioning correctly, then you don't have time to think about your emotional state and your higher self. So sometimes food isn't going to be the most delicious, but you still got to eat it. And people, drag me in the comments if you want to. I don't care. But this is just facts. Like, sometimes you don't want to eat just, a salad, but guess what? Your body needs it. Your body is like, please, dear God, give me something that isn't processed food, or, that has some water content to it. And trust me, guys, the more that you feed your body healthy foods, the more you'll notice that it's craving it. Like, if you just give your body junk all day, every day, then that's what your body's going to crave. And you're probably not going to feel that great, mentally and emotionally and physically, for sure. Like, there's people that are on all these different medications and they wonder why. Like, you're not eating food. And, this really sounds a little bit judgy. I don't mean it to come off as judgy. I just, specifically when we're supposed to be leading by example as parents, I guess I'm getting a little judgy about it. But more importantly, you need to parent yourself first before you parent your children. So if you're worried about what your kid's eating, you need to be worried about what you're eating first. And they'll see what you're eating and go by example. Like, for example, last night, I'm eating dinner and I'm eating the same thing that my baby is with some sauce and stuff on top of it, mind you, but it's the same thing. But she didn't want to eat hers. She wanted to eat mine. And I remember doing this as a kid too. I would order something, and if my mom ordered something that I liked, then I would want to eat hers. I'd be like, "Oh, let me just eat yours." So that's just proof that our children are watching us. They're watching what we're doing, what we're eating, what we're drinking. And we need to be that example for them. If you're not a parent and you don't plan to be, you need to parent yourself. If you want to live a life that, you don't have to be so concerned about your physical problems all the time, honestly, like, I don't care if you want to drag me in the comments, eat real food. And I'm not saying everybody needs to go vegan, because you know what? For some people, that's not going to work. And it's not my place to tell people, oh, you need to go vegan and save the planet, blah, blah, blah. You know what? That's what I do for myself, or I try to. And that's what I do. That's not what you need to do. What you need to do is listen to your body, eat real food, and just love yourself. This is a form of self-love, guys. And, if you're a parent, loving your children and loving your inner child as well. It's so important. If you want to level up in this life, you need to eat real food, period. If you're wondering, how am I going to do that because I'm broke? Well, guys, there are a few ways to do this. One way that I can think of off the top of my head is to grow your own. If you live in an apartment, that's okay. You don't need to have, a whole greenhouse, or, if you live in Canada and it's dead of winter, you don't need a greenhouse to grow some stuff. And I'm not talking about growing like pounds and pounds of produce. Like, obviously that's unattainable for some people based on space and time and etc. One thing that's super easy to do and super nutritious are sprouts. They grow super quick. They're super easy. You just soak them. I'm not going to go on a like step-by-step how to do sprouts right now. But sprouts, you throw them on everything you eat. Just eat them. They're delicious. They're crunchy. One time, actually, it was so funny. I was leaving my favorite grocery store in Edmonton before I moved away. Earth's General Store. For those of you that are in Edmonton area, please go to Earth's General Store, because it's the best locally owned grocery store of all time. Anyways, so I was leaving EGS and I saw some guy, he had like a container of sprouts, and he like popped open the thing, and it was like watching someone like eat an apple. He just like took a huge bite of these sprouts, and it was I'd never seen anything like it at the time. I was like, who just eats sprouts like that? That's crazy. But like, now I'm like, okay, I get it. Sprouts are really good for you, and they're pretty good. The more you eat them, the better they get, really. So, textures are important. Different real foods are important. The sooner that you can get processed foods out of your life, and I mean most processed foods. Everybody's probably going to eat some processed foods once in a while. Like, I'm not saying, oh, you need to just start eating at home and never eat processed foods again. Come on. I'm realistic, okay? Sometimes I eat chips. Sometimes I buy rice cakes and I eat them. Like, whatever. I'm talking about most of the time. Everything in moderation. So the more that you can have real food in your life, the better. And preferably local. Sprouts, if you're growing them yourself, you can't get any more local than your kitchen. Another tip, let's see, usually local produce is cheaper. So if you can find someone who is growing something in season, even if you're like, I have no idea what to do with this, take it as a fun challenge and figure it out. Right now, I guess it's October, so there's lots of pumpkins going on, right? You don't need to like throw all the stuff away once you make jack-o'-lanterns. You can cook it and eat it. I know it sounds crazy, but like pumpkins here in Cambodia are like a staple as far as I'm concerned. They're grown year round. So I guess that's my piece for today. Eat real food, guys. Real food, real textures. Try to cut out the processed crap as much as you can. Drink water. Take care of yourself. Take care of your inner child. If you're a parent, take care of your kids. Feels good. Thanks for listening. I hope you have a good day. See ya.